Aloha Magic Tribe. I hope you are having a magical day whenever you are watching this. So, we're doing, by special request, some videos on astrology. And these are based off of questions that you guys have asked me. So, if there is a question that you have not asked, I've been getting questions through my direct messages and also through answers to little question boxes in my stories and comments on posts and all the places. So if there is a question that you have not asked me yet, please type it into the comments below and then I'll be able to add it into our series. So our question for today is it possible to read a birth chart without the exact time? So the answer is yes. There are a few different workarounds. So first of all, if you don't have the exact birth time, don't let that be the end of the story. Keep your feelers out. Keep asking if the time was not printed on your birth certificate. Perhaps someone remembers whether or not that was your mom or someone else, your grandmother, your dad, like whoever else is around. Was it dark? Was it nighttime or was it daytime? What were some other clues? You got to put on your little detective hat and gather the information. So the other thing is to just be really open to, you've put I would like to know this out into the universe and be open to receiving that. One of my favorite stories about the reconciliation of birth time is from a woman who, it was the birth certificate was lost, her mom didn't remember, there was things like the birth certificate, there was no time, right? We didn't know. And so then right before her session, she went to go visit her mom and she was going through an old photo album and found a picture of her mom right when she was just first born, and there was a clock on the wall in the background that had gotten photographed at the same time. So magic is everywhere. Be open to it and receive that. So you might receive the birth time if you don't know. So the birth time is important because it is the moment, and of course I talk about this more fully in module 1, which if you sign up to join us for Astro Empowerment, which, by the way, this whole series of Q&As around astrology is sponsored by the Astro Empowerment course. And so this is my 6-month astrology immersion, and it's already begun. So you can get instant access to module 1 as soon as you sign up. The link is in my bio. The doors are closing June 14th. Early in the morning, so do take advantage of the time that is available to you now and join us to sign up. And of course, I'm going to do more explanation on everything that's in these videos in that course. It's a 6-month immersion. We have lots of time and lots of information, lots of time to feel it, because I want you to feel it. It's not something that I want to be in your head. To me, astrology is not a mental exercise. It's a very lived, very archetypal, very psychological, very deep, introspective, personal journey, and that's what I want to be for you. So the rising sign is the moment when you sealed the astrological conversation that was happening in the stars at the moment in which you were born into your being. So short version is that in our solar system, there is a conversation between our sun and all the different planets that are orbiting around our sun. And this conversation is like a push-pull between the planets. The sun is what keeps them in their orbit. And so the planets, were not for the sun, would be out of here. So there's a conversation of this push and pull. And so when a planet is on the outer side of its orbit, there's a wider pull, and then when it's closer to the sun, and this is specifically for elliptical, this is for Uranus basically. Anyhow, there's a conversation between the push and the pull of the planet wanting to go out into space and the sun pulling it into its orbit. And so this conversation, this celestial conversation, is cataloged by the sun, wafted out on the solar winds. And when the solar winds encounter the Earth's atmosphere, sometimes this is the aurora borealis, the northern lights. So that creates this alchemical mixture of the cosmic conversation between the sun and all the planets interacting with the Earth. And so the moment that you take your first breath, this is when you complete your first elemental ceremony, the ceremony of air. And you seal this conversation, this cosmic imprint into your cells. It goes into your DNA, into the multidimensional part of your DNA. And so that first ceremony, when you seal your galactic genetic imprint, your astrology chart, your birth chart into your cells, that is the moment of your rising sign. And so the rising sign is always going to be over here on the 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock position. So that's the moment, and that, whatever degree that is, in this example right now, it's at 17 degrees Sagittarius. That is what kind of is the first domino that sets into place, like everything that's happening in your chart. And so that also places the order of the houses. We're going to talk about what the houses are in a different video. So it is important to know your rising sign, because that really gets into the details of the placement of the houses and everything, and really gives you context about what the different planets mean in their different placements. So your rising sign is also your first layer, like the kind of like the mask of the persona that you wear. This is the part of yourself that you show when you're first meeting people, when or it can be kind of like your kind of like default way of relating to people. So if you're in an uncomfortable situation, you're with new people that you've never been with before, my favorite place to watch for a person's rising sign is if you're living in a city, you get into like a Lyft or an Uber and you watch, like, is this person outgoing? Are they chatty, or are they more like reserved? And for me, like, I get in and like, I'm a Sagittarius rising, so it's like within like a minute, I'm like teaching someone something esoteric. So the rising sign, so there are clues about like how the rising sign operates. And then when you just take that, and of course we go into more detail about that in the Astro Empowerment course. This is so basic, you guys. Please come dive deeper is what I'm trying to say. So important. And this is just like the tiniest little nugget I can give you in this little 10 minutes. So we take the way that we know how a rising sign operates, and then we go through, it's almost kind of like we got the square peg and we're looking for the square hole. And so then we know, okay, this sign operates in this way, and this sign has a flavor of this, and this sign looks like this. And so sometimes it's a personal inquiry. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's a personal inquiry. Sometimes it's just through asking other people, how do I act when I'm nervous? How do I act when I'm uncomfortable? What did you think about me when you first met me? What was your first impression? So you can get clues about your rising sign characteristics, therefore the sign, by asking other people for their reflections, or just by watching yourself through personal awareness about how it is that you operate. And so once you get a really good feel for how all of the signs work and how they manifest, and you know how the rising sign works, you can kind of sense it. I always say it's like I can smell it. I'm like, oh, I smell Scorpio, you know? So there it is. The answer to the question is, it is possible to be able to kind of figure out the rising sign without the time of birth. So no worries, it is figure outable. And I do encourage you to join us for the Astro Empowerment course. We dive deep into all of this and so much more, so much more. We mentor with all the different planets, with all the different signs, so you will be able to smell the different aromas of all the signs, So do take a look, tap the link in my bio. It would be such an honor to join you.